Welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abby Ritchie. I'm the founder and CEO of Senior Savvy, and you can find me right here every Tuesday interviewing people who are engaged in the age tech space. It's a great place to be. And before we get started today, and I bring my guests on, I gotta tell you, today's episode is brought to you by Fynn. Fynn.io is a senior living comprehensive platform that will help you master the art and science of your senior living community. For more information, visit Fynn.io. And with that said, let's go ahead and run our intro. I love seeing myself in an animated form. Welcome back to Tech Tuesday. I want to go ahead and bring my guests on for today. First up, we've got Lola Rain. And Lola is a growth strategist in senior living. Hello, Lola. Welcome to Tech Tuesday.
Hi, Abby. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. You too. And then we also have a very special guest. You probably already know him, but let me bring on Steve Moran. Welcome to Tech Tuesday, Steve Moran.
Hey guys, great to be here. And if it looks like I am broadcasting from a hotel room, I am. I tried to figure out how to show you my background. I am at Leading Edge, Washington, where I'm speaking tomorrow. And we are about a mile from the Canadian border. I'm looking out my window at this bay, and I can actually see Surrey, British Columbia across the bay, and I wish I could show you that, but I can't figure out how to do this because backlighting, just you can see this side of my face is all dark because that's where the light is. So, but I'm really excited to be here with you, Abby. I'm just crazy passionate about what we're going to talk about today. I've been talking about what we're doing here in since I've been here at Leading Edge Washington, and so I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, let's dive into it. Let's talk about the Evolve 2023 conference. And if you are unaware of what this is, I'm going to let Steve explain to all of us right now what Evolve 2023 is and how it came into effect and why it's so important. Go for it, Steve.
You bet. So when you look at senior living, and this is why this topic really drives me crazy. When you look at senior living, everything that senior living does, except for one thing, you can get at home, right? So you can get care at home, you can get transportation at home, you can get meals at home. What you can't get at home is a great living experience. And yet, for all of that, our life enrichment directors are the lowest paid people, the least seen as the least important people at the local property hierarchy. I know CEOs and regionals and everybody hates, and executive directors hate this, but I believe life enrichment people should be the highest paid people at every single campus. I know people hate it, but I believe that that's true because you are the people that create great living experiences every day. We also know that most companies are not, frankly, willing to invest in sending you off to conferences. And so a few years ago, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, how do we at Foresight do something to really, really celebrate what executive directors are doing and to actually help them elevate their game? And we decided to create this conference called Evolve that is all for you. It's all about how do you create better resident experiences? How do you better interact with your management? How do you keep yourself going? And my big dream is that as you grow in your role, you're going to be so valuable to your organizations that you're going to be able to walk into your boss, whoever that is, and say, hey, I need more money or I'm leaving because this place will fall apart without me. It's possible to do that. I did a half-an-hour conversation last week with life enrichment people at Front Porch, a Southern California-based not-for-profit Their CEO was on. I don't know that he was thrilled. He's a good friend, but I don't know that he was thrilled. But I basically said the same thing. I want to teach you how to make yourself so valuable that your CEO and your executive director will have to pay you more money.
Let me interrupt you for a second, because while I hear you talking to the Engaged Life Director right now, chances are their executive director is actually watching this, right? So let's talk to the executive director, and let's talk and tell the executive director, and Lola, maybe you can do this, why it is so vital to reinforce their Engaged Life Director.
So one of the priorities that every community should have is focused on life enrichment. And that comes from leadership. If leadership makes it a priority, the entire building makes it a priority.
Yeah.
And if you're part of a multi-community organization, it even comes from the top, right? Just like Steve was talking about having the CEO on this call with life enrichment directors, the CEO's presence and their communication is so important for the life enrichment director to be elevated. And by making that known to the entire organization that life enrichment is a priority, that our residents are a priority, that our activities departments are a priority, then it's known across the organization that that's where the efforts and the investment should be made.
100%, 100%. Yeah, go for it, Steve.
And I want to add one more thing to that. I think part of the reason that the thing I want to say to you as an executive director is, what if your building were at 100% occupancy? If you have the right create the right resident experience, you will be at 100% occupancy. And you know what? You'll be delighted to pay your life enrichment director $500,000 a year. Okay, maybe not quite that much, but anyway, you'll be delighted to pay your life enrichment director kind of whatever they demand, because you'll know that they are adding hundreds and hundreds of thousands of revenue to your building every year, maybe millions of dollars of revenue to your building every year. And for those of you, particularly in the for-profit space, adding millions and millions of dollars to that property asset value. And that's why you should not be bothered by my idea that your life enrichment directors should be paid 2, 3, 4 times as much as what they're making.
Yeah. And so, the Evolve Conference is not just for life enrichment directors, though, right? It's also for the ED as well as the COO.
That's correct. And so we have it in, it's 4 half days in July 11th, 13th, 18th, and 20th. We designed it that way so that a life enrichment director or the activity staff or the ED or the CEO can take that time, set it aside for just a couple of hours during those 4 days, but we also put it into 2 tracks. So day 4 is focused on leadership. Day 3 is focused on dementia and innovation. So even assisted living directors, memory care directors, there's content for everybody, and we're offering CEUs.
Great. So then someone could also gain education hours, but let's answer the big question on the table. Well, who's going to fill in for the activity director when they're doing and attending the conference?
So that's all about time management. When we think about a life enrichment director's responsibility and their day in and day out tasks, they have such a huge responsibility. And if they're not out on the floor with the residents doing an activity, leading an activity, they're behind their computer, filling out their calendars, creating newsletters. You may not know this, but they actually are in charge of the transportation schedule at many communities. So they have a driver or a driver and a half, or they even have to step in for a driver if the driver's not available. So they're stretched thin. So in order to make that time to actually sit down and do some classes and to do continuing education and to learn, and to not just learn, but come up with a plan to implement it, they need to have their activity staff cover for them. And it takes a lot of coordination and executive director buy-in. So going to your ED and saying, I need this time uninterrupted. Can you help me cover my other tasks?
Yeah. Yeah, Steve, I wanted to get some weigh in from you on this topic because I know that you attend a lot of conferences, both senior living conferences and completely non-related conferences, so that you can continue to grow and expand and lead. And how valuable is it for someone to attend a conference like this?
I think that I won't tell you that every conference I've gone to has been life changing,
Uh-huh.
but I have been to some conferences that have been completely life changing. They just they do two things for me, maybe three. The first is and probably this is the most important, is that they re-energize me. I just came from a town hall meeting here at this particular conference, and a woman got up who runs a nursing home for mentally disabled people, sort of that nobody else wants. And she stood up and she was talking about how she is completely fully staffed, and that in fact she's got somebody who wants to come to work for her that she doesn't have a spot for, and they're calling her up every day saying, when do you have a place for me, when do you have a place for me, and she's just waiting for that opening. And so you start doing that. And I talked to another this morning, also a life enrichment director who actually has a staff of 10 on a single campus. And so I talk to these people, and I start thinking about what can be for everybody who's watching us, for the whole industry. And that's a huge, huge part. Our keynote speaker, Denise Boudreau, who's a close friend, who's actually keynoting here before me in Washington tomorrow, will inspire you. You will you'll be re-inspired and re-energized. And then the second thing is that sometimes we have to be we have to have just new ideas of ways to do things. And a big part of this is just thinking about how can I do this better? How can I create better programming? And the third thing, and it's really hard to know how to describe it, but one of the cool things we're going to do is I'm going to give away some money every day. And the way we're going to give away money is the person who initiates the most chats will get $100 gift certificate to Amazon. They can go spend it wherever. They don't have to go tell their boss about it. Just take it and go buy something. And the conversations that happen in the chat are frankly just incredible. And there will be so much value as you learn from your co-leaders, co-life enrichment leaders. So just so many good things.
Yeah.
And there's a movement happening. There's a movement happening in senior living around life enrichment. And we want all of the life enrichment directors to know about that. In fact, here's a little sneak peek to how Evolve got started. Okay. Steve and I were sitting in a pancake house in December 2019, brainstorming what can we do to elevate life enrichment. And this was pre-pandemic. And we came up with the idea of Evolve. It wasn't named yet, but we said we have to develop a summit, a virtual summit that life enrichment directors can easily attend. And now we're on the third year of that virtual conference. And so it's exciting to see how it's growing.
So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, though, I want to know why. Why did that conversation happen at the Pancake House? Okay, I want to know why, because it's really the genesis of that's going to help so many executive directors fuel that type of enrollment in the conference. So let's take a quick break. And I want to let everyone know today's show is brought to us by Fynn. You can visit fynn.io to learn how to improve residents' well-being, forecast costs, and drive NOI with Fynn's comprehensive senior living platform. That's fynn.io. And we've got a little commercial to run right now, too. Is it stuck? I think it's stuck. It's frozen. Okay. Well, let's see if we can get that running, and we can always play it in just a little while. So guys, tell me, why did you start talking about that at the Pancake House? I want to know.
So I'll start. It's at Foresight, we believe that senior living is an amazing place to live and to work. We believe that for many, many older people, that it gives them the very best life for those last weeks, months, and years that they just can't get anyplace else.
Yeah.
But we also think that there are places that we're not as good as we could be. There are gaps, and at Senior Living Foresight, you'll hear me say it in every talk I do, and virtually every live stream, that we are completely committed to the idea that we want to make the lives of people who live and work in senior living better.
Mm-hmm.
And Evolve is a way to do both of those things. It'll elevate the life enrichment professionals who are working in the industry. It will elevate the lives of residents. It'll improve the lives of family members. And ultimately, that all makes the world a better place.
Yeah.
Lola.
So I previously worked at Eschaton, where I worked closely with 10 life enrichment directors. And my job was to pull stories from them, really learn about what their jobs entailed, the residents that they served, and I created media around that. And so I got to know these 10 life enrichment directors and all of their challenges, and that inspired me to really look and see how can we impact these people, because as we said, these are the people who are the glue of the community. They're the ones who get to know the hundreds of residents that live under your roof, and they know what makes these residents happy, what makes them sad, what keeps them going every day. And people who work in senior living, one thing that I hear all the time from every staff member is, I love my residents. Yeah. So we want to love the staff back, right? We want to give them the energy, the joy of coming to work, the resources they need, the pay they need. They work so hard and tirelessly, and they care. They're passionate and compassionate. And so how do we really make their lives better? So that's my goal in delivering this conference.
Awesome. And you mentioned earlier the breakdown of the different days. Let's talk about that again and how that would impact both an ED as well as an engaged life director. So on the first day, what can we expect?
So the first day is the kickoff, where we have Denise as our keynote speaker, who's going to inspire us. We have a resident panel, and we have general information around activities and engagement, and really, really getting people pumped up for what's to come.
Okay. And what about on the second day? What can we expect then?
The second day, we have each day is approximately 4 hours. So the entire conference is 16 hours. And day 2 on Thursday, July 13th, we're talking about, we have a panel just about men residents. What do men want? So that's going to be really fun, brought to us by the Men's Shed. So we're going to learn all about that movement that's worldwide. And then we'll get into talking about purpose, fulfillment, and cultivating joy. And then we're going to also focus on the boomers that day and talk about this next generation of seniors and what they want from their activities professionals.
And how different is that? I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. What do you think boomers are looking for in their programming?
Well, that's a great question. Our speakers are going to dive into that, so I don't want to give away too much, but we will be going into things like physical fitness and brain fitness and lifelong learning. Mm-hmm. And these are all, terms that we talk about all the time, but what makes boomers different than the previous generation, right? Steve, you're a boomer. Tell us, what is it that you want?
Yeah, so I'm a boomer, and so I can speak to this a bit. I think that what we're seeing more and more of, I'm hearing a lot of, and it's going to be a shift in mindset for life enrichment directors, but it will be, once that shift is made, it'll actually be better. is there's going to be an expectation that boomers design their own program. Since the day we were born as boomers, when you think about it, it's really fascinating, right? So our parents, the silent generation, they just, their life was all about work because life was really, really hard. And we, in many ways, were the first generation to have a life that had more leisure. And so we were kind of taught that we could design our own life. And as the boomers start moving into senior living, they're going to want to have a lot more control. They're going to want the life enrichment directors to help inspire them to find new ideas and new directions. They're going to want them help with the logic, but the boomers are going to want to kind of do their own thing. And it's going to be hard because they're going to be, you can either figure out how to go with the flow as life enrichment directors. And this is a lesson for executive directors and regionals and CEOs as well. You cannot just tell the boomers what to do and they're going to comply. You can have either the best experience, the most dynamic experience, or you can have war. And we're going to be talking about how to make it wonderful instead of going to war with your residents, because war with your residents is a terrible idea.
We're not talking about going to war with your residents. Okay, great. So that was day 2, right? Let's talk about day 3.
Day 3, we're going to be focusing on innovation and dementia care. So we'll go into some best practices as well as technology. We'll talk about the difference between wellness and well-being, which I think is, really an interesting topic because those terms are thrown out there in marketing throughout senior living. We have wellness programs. We focus on resident well-being. What does that really mean? And then we'll get into intergenerational arts and programming for people with dementia, as well as a panel on memory support.
I love it. And forgive me if I'm wrong, or correct me if I'm wrong, but is there an action item for every day? It's like, yeah, you learned all of this today, and now here are some tools to help you implement. Will there be something like that?
Yes. In fact, Steve's going to lead the very last session on day 4, which we'll go back through the sessions and pull out some low-hanging fruit of things you can walk away with today and implement at your communities to make a difference.
Yeah, because it's one thing to go to a conference and to get fired up and energized, and it's entirely another thing to take what you've learned and then implement it. So just the opportunity to be able to do that is huge.
I agree.
Yeah. And now
day four is leadership. We're going to have a couple of panels. We'll have a CEO panel. We'll have a life enrichment panel so that we can really focus on teaching life enrichment directors how to communicate with leadership and ask for what they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Steve, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, one of the things I'm really hoping we'll be able to do this year is to actually create a playbook of just ideas that we will extract from the chat and from the confirmation of, think in terms of getting a book of 50 or 75 ideas that you can actually take with you, a workbook that you can use after the event that we'll make available to people. So I'm just, every year we get this and we get all these ideas, and honestly, we haven't done a great job of sort of going back and capturing that. We're going to made a commitment to do that. We actually, one of the ways we'll be able to do this much easier is something called ChatGPT, so we can take transcripts and tell it to go in and figure out all the good stuff and take out. And so we're going to really take advantage of that new technology. But there's one other thing we haven't really talked about, right?
What?
Maybe it's on your script already, and I don't know about it. The
what
awards.
Is it, Steve?
The awards. We have not talked
about the awards. Yeah, great.
Don't want to miss that.
So the Foresight Awards. This is so phenomenal. We have a call for entries out right now that you can nominate a coworker, friend, boss, peer within a senior living community. So this is for providers only, and write a story about this person. And then we have a panel of judges who are going to review all the submissions, and we're going to award some people for their excellent job by giving them a chance to be on screen at Evolve in front of our audience. And Steve, what else?
And money.
Money, yes.
And money.
And money.
And money.
Giveaways.
How much?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give away the amount because I want to make sure that everybody submits, because we can award. Traditionally, we've awarded 4 people, but if we have some phenomenal entries, we will divide the winning dollars amongst the top recipients.
Even some new people to senior living, I think should be awarded as well. Just having a good attitude, being enthusiastic, getting to know residents. Don't you think that's a value?
Absolutely. The tenure in your community doesn't matter. It's the job you do. It's your commitment to your residents, your team, yourself. We want really good stories.
Absolutely.
So can I nominate myself?
I'll do it for you, okay?
No, not me personally, but if somebody looked at that and said,
you're already a
I'm doing
winner.
like great. So here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking, right? Is there somebody who's watching this who says, you know what? I am completely rocking it in my community. And this is the sad truth. My boss isn't noticing and nobody's noticing. And I should be nominated, but nobody's noticing. So can I submit myself if I was in that situation?
There's no restrictions. So
perfect.
Yes, submit yourself.
And where's the right place to submit this information? Is there a website or an email address or something like that?
Yes, so we will put it in the link in the chat, but if you go to our website and go to the Evolve page, there's a link on the page that says click here to nominate.
Okay, rather than calling Steve with your nomination, right?
Oh, don't do that. I'll lose it.
No problem. So, the last thing I want to ask you here today is, as a life enrichment director, like Steve said, people just overlook you. What's the best thing you could say to your executive director to be an advocate for yourself and education in this area? What would be the right thing to say?
Well, the first thing that I recommend is you got to be ready to go into your ED's office and ask, right? And getting that energy, getting that confidence can be really hard for somebody. So talking yourself up, maybe practicing with your friend or spouse or one of your activities assistants, but practice the conversation first and say, here's why this is important. So come up with a couple of bullet points. Steve, what are some bullet points that you think that a life enrichment person could take to their ED?
So I think the first thing, just because this is so top of mind, there are actually 2 things that are really top of mind. The first is that if we create, by going to Evolve, you will have more tools to create better programming, and that better programming will result in happier residents and higher occupancy.
Yeah.
It will also make this a better place for everybody to work, whether they're life enrichment or dining, because if people are having fun, people will want to stay working. People will want to come and work at that community. So this has really significant bottom line implications for the community. The other thing that I would really encourage people to do is to tell stories about how they, as a life enrichment director, have done something that was a catalyst to change the lives of another resident, a family member, a team member. We did this thing, and you should have seen the smiles on the face of. You should have seen the tears because they were so happy or because they made this new connection. And if I go to this conference, I'm going to be more effective, and we're going to have more of those moments that will bring us closer together and make the world a better place.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much. And let's go ahead and put up on the screen again where someone could go to register, to get more information, and to get get signed up for the Evolve conference. And yeah, there's the website down there. With just another minute or two left, do you have any final parting words you want to share, Lola?
Sure. So Evolve is such a special conference, and I really want to encourage people to sign up. We do have group rates available. It's such a low price. The price should not hold anybody back.
Yeah.
Please reach out to Steve or myself directly if you need a group rate. We're happy to pull that together. So if you have multiple buildings, we're going to be doing some specials. We're going to be doing a buy one, get one free special this Friday. So watch your email. If you're signed up for the Senior Living Foresight email blast, watch your email. All of this will be in there.
Wonderful. And Steve, any final parting words?
I know this has been great. Everybody should be there. I know we have one little short video we've got to run, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But come join us, be there, hang out with us. Let's change the world together for our industry, for residents, for family members.
Awesome. Well, first, I want to thank our audience for participating today. We love that you're in the chat, and we value that. And then I also want to thank today's sponsor, Fynn.io. And as we exit today, I want to go ahead and run that spot. And here you go.
You can invest a lot of money and continually hire care staff, the best that you can possibly find. But if they become frustrated, or if they don't have access to the right information to do their job well, they're very likely going to move on to another location. So if you can give them an environment where all the information that they need is readily available, and they're rewarded for doing a good job, recognized for doing a good job, and they feel personally valued at that job, then they will stick around. They will perform better. They will build better relationships with the residents and the resident families, and you will ultimately have a better living situation.